There's a very famous quote I often go back to every time I run across the preachers of hate. And I think it was a physicist that came up with it. I think the name was Steven Weinberg or something of the sort. If I said it wrong, I do apologize. But what's important is the quote itself. It was something along the lines that in order for good people to do bad things, it requires faith. And of course, I understand it, and I am sure that there's countless scenarios where that does make sense. But I am also sure that there's thousands and thousands of others where it is not the case. I do believe that this tool for debate and discussion has become some sort of chess move that some people like to use to shut down the conversation. But I don't think it is without merit to explore the idea, to explore the proposition, if you will. Now I'm going to go on a tangent for a second, but I'm only going to do it because I think it is relevant to the dynamics, the psychological dynamics that are going on here. I remember a long time ago, I was told by countless people, I don't even know how many people told me this, that money changes the human being. That if you ever come into money, you're going to change. I was actually told that by a friend, and who was from a humble background, and he, I guess, was concerned that if one day, because I always had big dreams. I'm sure that everybody, or almost everybody, when they're kids, they talk about these giant things they want to do, and I was one of them. He said, if you ever come into money, you're going to change. And I remember growing up believing that maybe that's true. Because in my limited interactions with people that were wealthy, they didn't seem to be that friendly. And then all of a sudden something happened. Something changed the way that I thought. And it happened when I made a friend that actually had a lot of money. And he didn't obey the mold. So once there was enough trust between me and him, I asked him straight out. I said, why is it that you are giving, that you're not selfish, that you are actually a very loving friend? Like that's something that I didn't expect. That's not the way it was supposed to be. And then I think he gave me a nugget of wisdom that really allowed me to understand how this whole thing works. He said something along the lines of, money doesn't change people. It just potentializes who you are. Your true colors begin to show. And at that moment, it is almost as if a light bulb just went off in my head. And he continued. He said, you know what? If you're somebody who's loving and giving when you have money, guess what? Now you can have more affect more people, and the ones that are in your life, the ones that are close to you, can affect them, more. You can give them more. You can make more people happy. But if you're selfish, and all of a sudden you come into money, and you like to find ways to cheat, you like to find ways to go around the systems, well, now you got money. Now you're going to be better at that. Better at cheating the systems. Better at playing the wrong game. Potentializes. And I think that's the word that I can also apply when it comes down to the hate preachers. Potentializes. Because in my life, I don't know about you guys, I've met a lot of people that are religious, that are of the Christian faith or Judeo faith or what have you. Some even call themselves spiritual. And they're loving people. They care. They do community work. They donate. And I often wonder, why is it that somebody can grab one book, read it, and take out of that book all the beautiful things that it can offer, because they do have beautiful things, I have to say, regardless if it's true or not. I'm just being sincere. And another person can grab the same book and find all that I would consider immoral and wrong, and hold on to that. Why is that? Now, of course, we have different biases. So I can't say that, look, oh yeah, well, everybody's going to interpret it the same because we're not a mental monolith. I get that. But the contrast is pretty brutal. And then I remember that word. Potentializes. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe somebody who has a lot of resentment, a lot of hate in their heart, maybe they don't even love themselves. They find this book, they read it, and those parts of the text, those ideas, those negative notions jump out, hold on to their hearts, and that's what they want to hold on to, and that's what they want to fight for because they're angry. And those who have love to give, just, I mean, maybe they read them, maybe, but they don't, doesn't even register because they're too busy loving. And I guess that's my point. Maybe that's all that a religious dogma is. It's a potentializer. And if we are to fight it, I guess, the bad seeds, the ones that preach hate, maybe it's by finding out what made them hate themselves in the first place. Or maybe it's just by reinforcing and showing those who preach the opposite, those who talk about love and community, give those a louder voice.